Hi everyone, welcome to part 2. Okay, Liko has just played e7, and now came a forcing sequence. The rook takes d4 check, king e3, bishop takes e7, king takes d4. So white has won the exchange. And here Kramnik played bishop h4, and all over the world watching this game there were GMs on the internet explaining why this could only be a draw, but Liko was in no hurry to agree, and after the game he commented that in the rook b1 variation of the Grunfeld there's a long variation which arrives in exactly this endgame, and this was part of his repertoire as black. And he knew that if the bishop stayed on the long diagonal it would be a draw, but after the time control black is not able to put his bishop on the long diagonal. And analysing the game later, Liko gave this move as inaccurate from Kramnik, bishop h4, which he's just played, and he gave the correct method to draw as f5, as already indicated, and it's incredibly difficult for white to win, if it's even possible at all, and perhaps only if black plays a blunder. And ironically enough though, Liko too played an inaccurate move after Kramnik's bishop h4. He played f3, and according to the great Jan Timman, the correct way to win was rook c2. And the reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, with the pawn on f2, the bishop is reduced in scope and has greater difficulty in returning to the long diagonal, as it can't get there via e1 or f2 and get in, this way. And secondly, with the pawn on f2, white in some lines has a vital extra move in a king and pawn ending. For example, if f5 here, now king d5, bishop f6, rook c7 check, king g8, rook c6 attacking the bishop, and if it moves then g6 is falling. So say king f7, and now rook takes f6 check, king takes f6, h4, creating a bind in the position, tying black down to king moves. So king f7, now king d6, king f6, taking the opposition, king d7, king f7, now f3, that crucial extra move, and suddenly it's black who's in Zugzwang. And now it's completely winning for white, thanks to his having the opposition here, and there's no way for black to hold his position together. For example, if king f6, king e8, king g7, king e7, king g8, king f6, king h7, to protect its g-pawn, now king f7, king h6, king g8 forces g5, now f takes g5 check, and white wins. So that was a certain winning continuation that Liko had, but instead he played f3 here. So Kramnik answered f5, which is the first step towards creating the desired fortress, and he should be able to draw this now. Rook c7 check is what Liko played, and if he tries for the continuation we just looked at with king d5, it's now a draw. After bishop f6, rook c7 check, king g8, rook c6, king f7, rook takes f6, king takes f6, king d6, because white has no way to gain that extra tempo that he needs now. The black king can just maintain the opposition. Oh sorry, he can't maintain the opposition, but he can keep the white king from coming into the black position. So, rook c7 check, king f6, king d5, and now bishop g3 from Kramnik, which is the final and game-deciding mistake. The correct continuation was bishop e1, after which it's impossible for white to make any progress. And it seems incredible that two world title contenders can make these errors in a seemingly straightforward ending, but the explanation lies in Liko's clever and patient maneuvering earlier in the game, just as the principle of not hurrying in positions where you have a stable advantage prescribes. With the pressure being maintained over a long time, the risk of mistakes grows, and while Liko also played an inaccuracy or two, it's no surprise that the fatal error came from the defender, as that's often the case with bishop g3 here from Kramnik. So now came rook c6 check, king g7, king e5, h4, rook c7 check, king h6, now rook c4, protecting the f-pawn from the bishop and allowing the white king to gain decisive activity after king g7, king e6. And here there's no way for black to stop the opposing king coming to f7, after which g6 is falling and the black fortress is collapsing. Kramnik tried bishop h2, but after rook c7 check, king h6 and king f7 he resigned, seeing that his position was completely hopeless. Rook c6 is coming next. So after 6.5 hours of play, Ligo had achieved what Kasparov could not, and won a world championship match against Vladimir Kramnik. It was a very nice display of endgame skill and a great example of the benefits in not hurrying when you have a sustainable advantage. It's important to take note too that as the type of advantage you have dictates whether you should hurry or not, it's vital to stay alert to changes in the situation. Sometimes the change from one kind to the other occurs within a few moves, and the need to hurry suddenly becomes the top priority. With rapid changes in the character of the position, you must be able to adjust mentally as well, which brings us to our next example. This position was reached between Atalik with white and Wolsteiner with black at a tournament in Augsburg in 2004. Black has defended well, although white has retained a small edge. White's in check and now has only one reasonable answer, king d4. His only other move was king f5, but now king f7 threatening g6 mate forces white to give up lots of material in order to stop himself from being mated, and so black wins. So king d4 is the only move. So then came f5, and suddenly speed becomes vital in the position, and both players have to play accurately. King e5 is the best move. F takes e4. If instead rook takes e4, now king takes f5, and white has a big edge. So f takes e4, rook takes b6, e3, d6 check, king d7, rook b7 check, king d8, king d5. And it seems that white has made progress. He's attacking the g7 pawn, and he's able to stop the black e pawn from queening with rook e7 at the right moment. Simultaneously, the black king has been forced to the back rank, so it's all looking good, but black has a brilliant resource here. If you want to try and spot it, then stop the video now. Rook e4 is the move, and suddenly the onus is on white. There's a draw available with rook b8 check, king d7 and rook b7 check, forcing king d8 and so on, but there's a stronger continuation which Atalik played with b3, which allows black to queen, but white will also, and more importantly, although black will queen first, white will do so with check. And if he takes the rook, then the e-pawn is queening, so that's obviously no good. So after e2 comes king c6, threatening mate with rook b8, forcing king e8. And now d7 check, king e7, rook b8, e1 queen, d8 queen with check, king f7 is black's only decent move. Now rook b7 check, rook e7, and after the scramble it becomes apparent that a draw is the likely outcome, but before that will come yet another pawn race, and again the principle of not hurrying certainly doesn't apply. The game continued queen d5 check, queen e6 check, queen takes c6, king takes e6, rook takes e7 check, king takes e7, b4, g5, b5, g4, b6, g3, and it's a race, but after they both queen and queen d6 check, here the players rightly agreed to a draw, as there's no way for either side to make progress unless the other makes a gross blunder. So it's a good example of when it's correct to hurry in the endgame. So in conclusion, time is a crucial factor in the endgame, but it depends on the position whether you should bide your time and maneuver carefully, or make sure no time is wasted and ensure every move counts. So I hope you found this segment instructive. Please leave any comments or thoughts. Thanks very much.